Hello again, my name's Gabe Zollner. This is the 3rd of December 2016, and I'm here with Lord Monckton all the way from London, England. Would you please tell us a little bit about yourself, why you're here, and what you hope to accomplish on your visits?
I'm Christopher Monckton. I'm the 3rd Viscount Monckton of Brenchley. You are in the presence of greatness, but in my case only inherited. And I am an enthusiastic student of the science of climate change, and I've concluded there isn't much of a problem with it, and so I'm generally regarded as an international public nuisance. And I'm here in the beautiful Sonoran Desert, not far from Phoenix, Arizona, because I'm addressing this evening, as we speak, and as this is recorded, the 3rd Congress of Freedom Force International, the distinguished gathering founded by G. Edward Griffin, the author of the great work about the Fed, the creature from Jekyll Island, which exposes the unsoundness of America's money and how it came about, and who profited from the collapse of the dollar over the last 100 years in the Fed's control. So the conference this week is about climate change. I'm the valedictorian speaker this evening. I will be summing up the conference and giving a presentation myself. And this will be an interesting evening because I shall be able at last to declare that the climate scare is finally over. You may think that's rather strange in view of the various UN conferences that were going on, but in recent months I have come across a major error in the mathematics that the computer modelers use to determine how much global warming they would expect in response to our industrial and economic activities. And that error very greatly magnifies the amount of warming you would expect. Take away the error and you take away the global warming problem, because you might get a couple of degrees Celsius of warming for doubling of CO2, but that's not enough to terrify anyone. There would be a net benefit if that was all it was going to be. And the point about this particular error is that because it is an error of physics and mathematics, they've made a mistake. In plain language, they screwed up. This will have a much more devastating effect than most of the other points we've been making about global warming, where we've been able to show, for instance, that the rate of global warming is less than half of what they predicted as recently as 1990. This has not happened the way they said. We've pointed out also that it's economically 100 times cheaper to simply adapt, to do nothing now and adapt to it later, than to try to do anything about it now. But all of these points, strong though they are nothing like as strong as finding an actual error in their sums, because they told us, didn't they, that was a 97% consensus. In fact, it's only about 0.3%, according to a detailed study of which I was a co-author, published 3 years ago. It's a 0.3% consensus, and even then only to the proposition that most of the warming since 1950 was caused by us. It may or may not be true, but there's nothing in that consensus proposition that says that we were the major cause of the warming. So everything they've said is false, but they will find it much harder to maintain that there is a consensus position, or that the science is settled, now that a layman such as me has come along and found a huge error in their mathematics, an error without which they would never have been able to get this global warming scare off the ground. So I will be explaining a little bit of the details of this error later this evening, and I will be telling them that now the science is in, the truth is out, the game is up, and the scare is over.
I hope that's the case, Lord Monckton, because Obama and his minions are really pushing climate change, and they're trying to get countries to absorb a whole lot of revenue that we're going to be giving them, and those countries are the worst polluters.
Well, it's certainly an outrage what has happened, and the dog is joining in the interview. But what we have to do now is stand firm, explain that an error is an error, they got it wrong, and it doesn't matter what Mr. Obama now thinks. He, of course, didn't understand for a moment what the science was one way or the other, or the economics. He was promoted wildly above his station because they needed a communist in the White House. But he's not capable of assessing the science in this mature way, and he is now going to be confronted with the fact that when he told us that climate change was something he couldn't argue he was simply wrong. And he had made this proclamation not on the basis of knowledge, but on the basis of communist prejudice. Why do I use the word communist? Because his policies are communist. Walks like a communist, quacks like a communist, then maybe it is a communist. I know that word has a frisson here because of the McCarthy era and so on. But sometimes it is necessary to be very plain. This was a man who was out to destroy America, to destroy her economy. He has very nearly tripled the national debt in his short and undistinguished term of office. And that tripling of the national debt could yet bring America down. If it does, he will be cheering all the way. But I, for one, will not, for I love the country. I do not like to see the damage that he has done. I do not like to see the damage that those who have pretended global warming was a problem when they didn't know whether it was or not has done. But now we know that global warming isn't much of a problem, if at all. That's the end of the scandal, and they will not be able to wriggle out of this one. It doesn't matter how many news media they have on their side. It doesn't matter how many professors say, well, we still maintain this is going to be a problem. The fact is, this is an error. It's an error which has been verified by two of the most distinguished professors on the planet, one on each side of the debate. They've both accepted that it is wrong. And that therefore those who have claimed there is a consensus are now going to have to explain how it was that that consensus all came to agree on a result which was wildly overstated because of this error. That's not going to be easy for them. That's why I say scary.
Thank you very much for that eloquent presentation, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your trip to the United States.